Another sign is up in front of Hertzvahn's store. It reads, Gickervuliev's apparel, gone to get smashed.
Huh? Again?
It's barely past midday now.
Do you think he's at Ivel's Tavern again?
Is the tavern even open at this hour? I believe Hertzvahn may be inside right now.
Inside?
I moved toward the door, pushing slightly against its wooden frame. The door gave way. Yep, he's still here.
Ritona, are you sure it's okay to enter without Mr. Hertzvahn's permission?
I'm certain he won't mind.
Well, wait, but how can you be so certain, though? Because, I mean, we've only known him for like a few hours, and, well, wait!
Mr. Hertzvahn! Mr. Hertzvahn, are you here? I let out an audible shout that echoed throughout the store. If my logic is sound, I should hear a response soon.
Ritona, there's someone over there!
Between home and his watering hole, there's only one place Hertzvahn could be. Selphine snuck behind me and pressed herself against my back. Hertzvahn, we have something urgent to discuss with you.
I hear someone groaning, Ritona. It doesn't sound human.
Oh, it's human, all right. It's just the sound of a human who's had a little bit more ale than it can handle. From within, I heard the most abhorrent groans to ever pollute my ear canals. That hit the spot! Selphine cooked up a few delectable morsels to help Hertzvahn recover from his hangover. Clearly, he's found a new addiction next to ale.
If you'd like seconds, just say the word, Mr. Hertzvahn.
If only he knew the true identity of his chef. He hasn't a clue that the future monarch of Rughzenhaide just cooked a meal for a commoner like him. Whoa, dang! Hertzvahn, you'd best be grateful.
Ritona, are you hungry? You should have said something if you were hungry.
I'm not hungry, nor am I grumpy from hunger. You sure there, missy? This stuff's like a party in your mouth. I haven't had such a sumptuous supper like this since me mum passed, much less one that packs much of a sobering punch. Hey, how old are you?
Age doesn't have anything to do with it. You see, I'm used to cooking these types of meals for Ritona whenever she's hungry.
I covered Selphine's mouth as quick as I could.
Oh.
My lady, I believe we shouldn't waste Mr. Hertzvahn's time or ours any longer and address the issue at hand.
Oh, right. Yes, you are so right, Ritona.
You don't have to share my drinking habits with people from halfway around the world, Selphine. You really, really don't. Well, whatever it is, feel free to tell me. You both couldn't have come at a better time. I felt like I was gonna die. Tell me, what's on your minds?
Thank you, Mr. Hertzvahn.
But before we dive into business, let's drink to fate for bringing us together again. Hertzvahn retrieved a flask from his overalls, threatening to undo all of Selphine's efforts. He took a long swig while we merely stood in silence. SARA, I can't say I've heard of her before.
She was the other girl who was with us both yesterday, Mr. Hertzvahn.
Well, in that case, yesterday was the first time I met her. You see, I have a real selective memory. The only names I put to faces are the folks who are either part of my regular clientele or folks I see at Ivel's every night. It's a shame. Maybe SARA isn't from around this part of town, you know? I don't suppose she is either. RUNE did say it was a long while since she last dined at Ivel's Tavern. If she doesn't come to this side of Cadia all that often, I wonder what brought her to that pawn shop where she first saw us. Say, is your establishment a part of the Managrid as well? If you asked me that question when I was still smashed, I wouldn't ask why. So, Missy, why are you asking? Well, I suppose it's a silly question, but, well, as you know, we aren't from Cadia. Oh, guilt me, why don't you? The entire city of Cadia, no! The entire outer pole is dependent on the mana grid. You both may not be Cadians, but I'd say it's best to square away a basic understanding of a society's fabric, if you know what I'm getting at. Don't go walking around asking willy-nilly about things that even a child would know. You get funny looks and funny folks following you both around. Your word of caution is appreciated. That's the second time we've been warned about attracting attention.
Mr. Hertzvahn, we've been told that SARA works at Zevit's Enterprise. Apparently she's in charge of changing out something called a filter in this area.
I know you didn't meet her until yesterday, but have you ever seen her stop by before to do the filter swap? Can't say I have. If she works for Zevit's Enterprise, then all the more reason for her not to come around these parts. What makes you say that? We're on the opposite side of town. Our mana grid ain't owned by or serviced by Zevit's Enterprise. We're on Hivis's main grid.
Hivis?
Oh, the Zevit's only competition when it comes to mana grid management. Their method of siphoning mana is a little different. Get this. They siphon mana straight from the atmosphere. Literally, right out of thin air. How is that? What? How is that even possible? Especially on the outer pole, the atmosphere is bereft of any mana. Oh, but what about the border with the inner pole, huh? The atmosphere there is thick with nature's untapped mana. Now, I haven't been around it personally, but I hear that the mana there is, colored? Mana's, colored, you know? Anyways, colored mana that's found in the atmosphere is apparently very different from the purified mana that they dig up out of the mana mines. Mainly, colored mana is unusable in its natural state. Hivis does something to the inner pole's colored mana to make it work like purified mana. Long story short, you won't see any folks from Zevit's Enterprise coming around to this side of town. They got no reason.
Then, do you know anything about a girl named RUNE?
Hertzvahn's entire body stiffened straight. He appeared to be paralyzed just by hearing the name alone. Hertzvahn reacted the exact same way as the lady proprietor from earlier. Whoa. He took a large swig from the flask in his hand and sighed slightly. That wasn't a name I was expecting to hear from either of you. I need a lot of ale to wash that lump down. Was RUNE really that much of a wild child, Hertzvahn? A wild child is putting it pretty mildly. Not in my whole life have I ever seen a child as wicked as her. Hertzvahn shares the lady's opinion as well. She took out my little nephew's left eye, blinded him.
She what?
Hertzvahn.
She didn't.
She did. I'd like to leave it at that if you don't mind. I don't like bringing up bad memories while I'm sober. And I don't like spitting on the grave of any child, no matter how rotten they were in life. Well... What's the matter? Now, I don't want to impose or anything, but seeing that I do owe you both a debt of gratitude, I figure it wouldn't hurt none to mention this. There's a man that goes by the name of Albus in the employ of Rudo Zevitz. Seek him out. If anyone's got the answers to all your questions, it's gonna be Albus. Try the tavern tomorrow night. You should be able to meet him there. Tomorrow night? But we only have so much time to do our biz. Oh!
RUNE! Oh no!
Zevit's Enterprise boardroom. 4 men, dressed in overly fine and formal suits, were having a heated discussion. Of the 4 people, only 3 of the men were seated along the table for 10, but they sat far apart from each other. Why? One couldn't say. The one standing near the corner wore a sympathetic expression. He spoke softly with the other 3, while SARA remained huddled behind him. The original policy that we applied to every employee in Zevit's Enterprise promised appropriate benefits and remunerations. I ask we refrain from this exercise in futility by dragging this settled matter back onto this table to be violated. SARA? RUNE? Violate is such a strong word, don't you think? Also, that was the original policy. The policy that we have right now is different. Well, this is the first time we've had an incident this serious. The other sisters don't take any issue with the work policy, so I'd like to quantify this as an isolated incident. Oh, I think these are... Well, they sound the same because they're twins. SARA, let's hear what you have to say regarding this matter.
Oh, well, I apologize for my actions.
I take this as an admission of your guilt. Why would you do something so illogically selfish?
Your action of attempted theft goes against every fundamental aspect of your existence. Don't you understand what your purpose is? You only exist because Zevit's Enterprise allowed you to exist. You belong to us. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not suggesting that Sarah's crime goes unpunished. Let the punishment fit the crime is all I'm saying.
Will you just spare your sentimentality, Albus? We would love nothing more than to stay clear of the issue of the sisters. I hope you realize.
I believe the conclusion reached from the collective input from the board of directors was indicative of your full cooperation on the matter of the sisters.
You're absolutely correct. Our course...
What a terrible voice. Our course of action in regards to any issues determined by a collective vote. We agreed to proceed with the sisters because the profit margin was favorable. They make fine miners, and we're all aware of that. But, man, okay, what's a sister? Oh, gosh. Are they robots or not really? If I had any say in the matter, I wouldn't have given the sisters project as much consideration beyond the paper the project proposal was written on. But Sid is gone now. Did we all not discuss and agree upon who to entrust the management of the sisters project to, should anything happen to Sid?
Yes, we agreed that Zudo Levis would be placed in charge upon his father's passing. If he can manage being the CEO of an entire conglomerate, adding another project into the mix for him to oversee should be no issue.
This attitude of yours, Caruli's, how much longer are you planning to keep this up? Because it certainly sounds like you're trying to delegate tasks that the board of directors could easily handle to Sid's progeny instead.
Look around you, Albus.
Oh god, I'm concerned now. He has a name. That means he's gonna stick around. He has a face and a name. This is bad. He can't have this name. We gotta reconsider. We gotta back up. We gotta rewind. We gotta go back in time. Okay, I figured it out. I know what to do. We're gonna swap voices. We're gonna give him the horrible, terrible voice of the unfaced people. And then unfaced people can have his terrible voice that I kept trying to stick to. Alright, cool.
Look around you, Albus. Look how many people showed up. This should be a clear indication of how the board feels about this matter. The Sisters Project was never a popular topic amongst the other directors. Look at that expression of profound sadness. You stand there, subjecting us to this, and question our commitment to this board and company? Why does she even have such a depressing expression? Clearly she's just messing with us. I say we dispose of her to prevent any issues of this sort from arising in the foreseeable future.
You know we can't do that. That is why we're here, to talk. Did you really think there weren't going to be any issues? We were bound to face problems. I'm surprised they didn't arise earlier. The way that your words so easily spill from your mouth is proof enough that you only care about what is the bottom line.
Bottom line, huh? Careful there, Albus. You wouldn't want to start sounding like a hypocrite, huh? Do you subsist solely on your science? Surely you must be paid for your specific services much like the rest of us. Why don't we put it through a conversation on ice to stay incendiary in the heat of the moment? No, we don't need a mediator. I want to know why we should devote our precious resources to supporting something none of us want a hand in. You may be onto something, but Albus has a valid point, although we agreed on our course of action in the event of Slid's passing.
Oh god, I believe forcing the sister project onto the CEO is unreasonable. Ruda, I haven't had time to think of a better voice for you. Oh god. Gentlemen, I apologize for the delay. Rudo.
Princess Everest, impeccable timing. Rudo, there's some things we need to address here, like right now. Everyone on this board acknowledges you are more than capable leader. Your management skills are top-notch. You've seen your father's company through better days than he ever could. Look around you, Rudo. Only 4 of the total 12 directors are present, with the exception of Albus. Nobody else from Laboratory 9 bothered to show up.
The others had an emergency to attend to. They would have been here otherwise.
Of course. The most vocal members regarding the issue from the board are you 4. The rest of us want no part in this matter anymore. So with all due respect, I ask that for the sake of the company, you make the best decision by killing our common point of contention, right here and now.
Let me get this straight. 4 out of 12 directors on Zevit's Enterprises board wasted the last hour voicing their disdain for an issue amongst themselves, without any progress to show for it. Is that correct?
Rudo!
Regardless of how you feel toward the Sisters Project, the fact remains the project is generating a steady and sustainable source of revenue for the company. Am I mistaken?
SARA.
Oh. Sarah.
Sir?
When I give you a command, I expect absolute obedience. Tell me, did I not command you to cease all extracurricular activities?
Yeah, you did issue that command.
Rudo, do you recall Sid's conditions for the management of the Sisters Project? All sisters involved in the company's activities are to receive monetary compensation, or an alternative form of compensation for their services. The form of compensation isn't fixed for each and every pay period, but the approval of an alteration is entirely at the discretion of the on-site overseer. Sarah knew this and only invoked her rights as an employee. Spare me the speech, Albus. In other words, you find fault with my decision to have Sarah reprimanded. Thinking that I hadn't already considered the possibility you speak of, unfortunately for you, I already have. Then why? As the CEO of Zevit's Enterprise, I reserve the right to amend or annul certain conditions of the clause you present. For example, I could propose an overhaul to the entire compensatory system for the project and cut monetary compensation, leaving only the alternative. But have you heard any word from the sisters of such a drastic and illogical course of action being taken? No is the only answer, Albus. All sisters involved in the project vastly prefer monetary compensation, which makes Sarah's crime of theft even more poignant than before. With these facts established, Albus, do you still find your defense of Sarah's actions to be justified? Of course you wouldn't. You're far too cunning to fight a futile battle. But, I hate to bring something like this up in a public setting, but we aren't in the lab, Albus. I am your superior outside of Lab 9. I'd appreciate it if you can respect that notion. I understand. Henceforth, I will proceed with prudence. Moving on. On the subject of Sarah's crime, we will address that tomorrow after our regular session with all directors on this board present and accounted for. I consider any incident of theft, be it petty or grand, to be one worthy of calling attention to.
Would the fact that you feel compelled to address this matter before the entire board mean you're assuming all responsibility?
This is not a matter of who is assuming responsibility, Director Gicker. Nowhere did I mention that I would ask the board of directors to address this issue and collectively assist in considering measures against future theft. I am only calling attention to this incident of theft. Clearly, Director Gicker, you understand the distinction between an announcement and a call for action, do you not? Allow me to clarify myself so that we may proceed without any room for misinterpretation. I am bringing up Sarah's actions to make all members aware of an incident of theft which I consider a crime that is tantamount to selling company secrets. Selling secrets? All I want in return for alerting the board of directors is their input on the incident. Now that I have clarified my intentions, why don't you tell us your basis for presuming that I'm playing the blame game? And please, don't leave any room for interpretation. You may leave us, Director Gicker. I extend the same invitation to the rest of you, for nothing else is to be gained from what I've already ascertained. Sarah.
Oh, yeah?
Do you fully comprehend why I take issue with your actions?
I do.
Then prove it to me. Tell me exactly what it is that I take issue with. Tell me the reason why both Albus and myself had to take time out of our schedules to be here.
It's because I tried to take a sediment stone without getting permission first.
That is not what I take issue with.
It isn't?
You really don't understand the gravity of your actions, do you?
But I...
The issue at hand is the fact that even though you understand that the concept of theft is morally wrong, you made a conscious effort to commit theft.
I have...
Sarah.
Yes?
You may return to the Manamines and resume your duties, and I will come gather you when the board of directors have reached a consensus. I suggest you output more effort today in lieu of the time you spent here.
I understand.
After you complete your shift, you are to return to your quarters and remain there until I say otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Make a note of what I'm about to say, Sarah. Whatever consensus is reached, when you return to your quarters tonight, you will not be confined, nor will you be monitored. You are free to obey or disobey every command I issue you. You may even abandon everything here at Zevit's Enterprise and leave if you so wish. In fact, you could kill both Albus and myself, right here and now. I advise you to think and come to your own conclusion in regards to your next course of action. Do you comprehend what it is exactly that I am telling you?
I do.
Good. Resume your duties.
Thank you.
And Sarah, there's one more thing that's bothering me. If you ever make eye contact with me, do not, under any circumstance, smile. You will not smile in front of me, Sarah.
Understood.
I think, God, I can't tell if, like, she's an android that used the body of his sister, and so he, like, doesn't want to see her as a human being because it, like, conjures up weird stuff for him, or if, I don't know, like, she obviously is his sister in some sense, and it makes him, like, feel weird, right? I don't know. Also, Mr. Hertzvahn's dad, who I'm assuming is this guy that we just saw, is, like, kind of a weird dick. Anyways,